Welcome in, everyone. We're going to do a deep dive today on something I think is really, really fascinating
Yeah.
and really important in education, and that is verbal coding deficits in learning disabled readers.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're going to be talking about a paper from 1989 and
Yeah, a little bit of a
kind of the origins of this
yeah,
research.
foundational paper kind of setting up the field a little bit.
And this is an educational psychology review, and the author is H. Lee Swanson.
H.C. Swanson.
So this paper is really all about trying to understand how LD readers, learning disabled readers,
Yeah.
process and remember information. And it specifically kind of dives into this connection, or in this case, lack of connection,
Yeah.
between visual information and how it's coded verbally in the brain.
Right.
And this is really important because it has implications for
Yeah.
how memory works and, of course, difficulties in reading.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think the
Yeah.
the central question that this paper kind of tries to answer is how does information get integrated in the minds of skilled and learning disabled readers
Right.
through different coding schemes? And they're really focusing on pictures and words
Yeah.
in this paper.
Right.
So, visual information and how it's coded verbally. And that really is the crux of, reading.
Well, and learning in general.
Learning in general, absolutely.
Yeah, so this paper kind of puts forth this hypothesis
Right.
that LD readers have what are called functionally independent visual and verbal coding systems.
Right.
And we're going to get into exactly what that means. But
Mhm.
basically, they have a harder time connecting the visual information with the verbal information.
Right.
And this can lead to issues with remembering visual information specifically.
Uh-huh.
So it's not that their visual system is bad, it's that they have a harder time attaching language to it.
Right. And that
It's just so crucial
the
at that time.
verbal coding is so crucial for integrating that information and,
For reading especially.
for reading, for memory.
Yeah.
It really affects all aspects of learning.
Yeah. And so the author, Swanson, puts forth this 3-stage model of information processing in LD readers.
Mhm.
And these 3 stages are modality-specific processing,
Yeah.
semantic processing,
Yep.
and lexical processing.
Right. And we can kind of go through each of these stages.
Yeah, so let's kind of break this down. And the
Yeah.
paper kind of breaks it down too. So we're going to go
Yeah.
step by step.
Yeah.
So starting off with modality-specific processing, what exactly is happening here?
Okay. So this is like that first initial stage
Okay.
when a learning disabled reader sees something. So
Yeah.
this could be a picture, this could be a written word, anything.
Okay.
Their brain is creating separate representations.
Okay.
So there's a visual representation,
Yeah.
what they saw,
Mhm.
and then if they're trying to name it or if it's a written word, there's also a verbal representation.
Uh-huh.
And this really kind of goes back to some past memory research on dual coding
Yeah.
and a modal coding. Have you ever heard of?
Yeah. So dual coding meaning it's coded both.
Yeah, you got it.
So visually and verbally.
Exactly. So
Okay.
two separate systems.
Yeah.
And a modal coding is more about like these representations that aren't tied to a specific sense modality.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a more abstract representation.
Okay.
So at this initial stage, the visual information and the verbal information
Yeah.
are being processed kind of separately.
Okay.
Now, what's really interesting is Swanson points out that when you're just looking at nonverbal things,
Mm-hmm.
so you're just looking at visual shapes, no labels or anything like that,
Okay.
learning disabled readers at this early stage seem to process them pretty similarly to skilled readers.
Really?
Yeah. There's research showing that they have comparable visual abilities
Okay.
in terms of like seeing details and noticing differences and even like initial visual memory
Okay.
for nonverbal things.
Okay.
So they're actually pretty good at that initial visual processing.
Yeah. Okay. So it doesn't seem like the visual system itself is the issue.
It does not seem to be the issue, no.
Okay.
And this is where Swanson really emphasizes the importance of verbal coding
Uh-huh.
and how that seems to be a primary challenge for
Right.
learning disabled readers.
Okay.
So he cites several studies that show that they have difficulties with things like
Mm-hmm.
rapid naming,
Okay.
word finding, verbal rehearsal,
Yeah.
like keeping things in mind verbally, and also like recoding, which is like converting visual information into sounds.
Right.
So even though they can see it,
Yeah.
they have a harder time processing it.
Using language.
Using language, exactly.
Okay. So it's not enough to just show them something. They really need to connect it with language.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's where you start to see
Okay.
the issues emerge.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So
So that leads into that idea of the functionally independent.
exactly. Verbal and
Well,
visual.
this is kind of the crux of Swanson's argument,
Yeah.
is that because they're not connecting these systems
Right.
as efficiently
Right.
as skilled readers,
Right.
it affects their episodic memory,
Okay.
which is our memory for events.
Uh-huh.
So like what happened,
Right.
when,
Yeah.
where, and it often includes a lot of visual details.
Right.
And so if you can't connect that verbal information to the visual
Yeah.
information,
Yeah.
it's going to be harder to remember those events.
Yeah.
And Swanson mentions in the paper,
Yeah.
he actually talks about how some previous research has shown that giving a name
Yeah.
to a random shape can actually improve
Uh-huh.
memory for it later
Yeah.
for skilled readers. Like it acts as this,
Like a hook or something.
yeah, like a hook or an anchor.
Yeah.
But his own research
Yeah.
revealed a different picture
Yeah.
for LD readers.
Okay.
So like in 1978, he did this study where he found that while learning names for shapes did improve memory for skilled readers,
Mm-hmm.
it didn't have the same benefit for LD readers.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, in some cases, it seemed to actually make their recall worse,
Wow.
even after he had controlled for like making sure they knew the name shape pairings.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting.
Okay.
And this difference in how verbal labels affected memory
Uh-huh.
really is a key piece of evidence for his idea of these separate coding systems.
Yeah.
So this, what he calls an additive effect in skilled readers,
Okay.
like the verbal label adds to their memory.
Yeah.
Whereas for LD readers, it's not adding.
It's not as.
It's not adding or even hurting.
Yeah. Wow, that's so interesting.
Yeah, it's a really crucial finding.
Okay, so let's move on to that second stage of the model.
Okay.
So semantic processing. So
Right.
so how does this play a role, and
yeah.
where are the differences between LD and skilled readers emerging here?
Semantic processing is where the brain tries to like link visual and verbal information
Okay.
by like finding common features
Oh, okay.
and connecting them into this like larger network of meaning,
Yeah.
what we call the semantic network.
Yeah.
And so this network helps us to organize information.
Uh-huh.
It helps us access details about a visual thing
Okay.
using its verbal label.
Right. So if I see a picture of a dog
Yeah.
and I hear the word dog, semantic processing is kind of like connecting
You got it.
and then also connecting it
To
to
next you.
everything else I know about dogs.
Tell the features and the concepts and like,
Yeah, yeah.
like,
That's an animal.
yeah, like what it looks like.
Yeah, it barks. It's often a pet.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So it's really about like
It's about meaning.
meaning, yeah, and understanding and like creating this rich
Oh,
representation in your mind.
Yeah.
And so Swanson, looking at various studies, including his own,
Uh-huh.
suggests that LD readers often struggle with this
Uh-huh.
critical step of linking visual and verbal information. So they have a harder time forming those connections
Okay.
in the semantic network.
Uh-huh.
And so that can then make it harder for them to like
Okay.
organize and retrieve
Yeah.
information efficiently,
Yeah.
especially when we're talking about like more general or abstract categories.
Yeah.
He talks about a study he did in 1984
Okay.
where they did this picture naming task
Mm-hmm.
where they varied whether the labels
Okay.
were semantically related or not
Uh-huh.
to nonsense pictures.
Okay.
So these pictures didn't really have any like inherent meaning.
Right.
And what he found
Yeah.
was that skilled readers remembered more items when they had labels,
Okay.
regardless of whether those labels were like directly related
Mm-hmm.
to the visual features of the picture or not.
Okay.
So that suggested that for them,
Oh.
both the verbal label itself
Yeah.
and any semantic connections it triggered
Yeah.
were helping their memory.
Okay.
However, for LD readers,
Mm-hmm.
they actually recalled unlabeled items
What?
better than labeled ones.
Okay.
So again, this supports that idea that for them, the verbal coding
Yeah.
wasn't providing the same memory boost
It was almost like it was interfering.
and might even be interfering.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting. So it's almost like the verbal label isn't
Yeah.
automatically tapping into
It's not automatically.
that same web of meaning.
Exactly. It's not activating those
Yeah.
semantic connections as strongly.
Yeah, like that semantic bridge
Yes, a weaker semantic bridge.
Yeah.
Like that.
between those two
Yeah.
is weaker for LD readers.
Yeah. And he also talks about this other experiment where they had participants sketch shapes they'd seen before,
Okay.
and they found that skilled readers
Yeah.
were better at drawing those shapes
Okay.
if they had been given names that were related
Right.
to like a category that the shape belonged to.
Okay.
So he showed that they were using those semantic links. to like organize their memory of the shapes.
Okay.
LD readers, on the other hand,
Yeah.
didn't show that same benefit from those category-related names.
Really?
Yeah, and it seemed like they were relying more on just remembering like individual visual details
Okay.
within a single coding system.
Okay. So it's like they're able to form those connections between the visual and,
Right.
and that category and use that category to help them remember it.
They're using those categories to like chunk
Yeah.
the information together.
Right.
It's like a nice little
Yeah. A nice organizational tool.
organizational tool
Yeah.
that LD readers aren't using as efficiently.
Gotcha.
And he also looks at how short-term memory
Right.
and long-term memory interact.
Okay.
And he suggests that LD readers might have difficulty
Okay.
moving semantic information effectively
Okay.
between those two systems,
Okay.
especially when it comes to things that can be easily described verbally.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay. So the final stage is lexical processing.
Right.
So what's going on here?
Okay, so lexical processing is all about like accessing our stored vocabulary.
Okay.
So the words we have
Mhm.
for the concepts
Okay.
in our semantic system.
Right. So finding the right word to name something.
Exactly.
Or understanding the meaning of a word.
Yeah, and Swanson really argues that like
Yeah.
a strong lexical system
Okay.
provides important input to that semantic network.
Okay.
It helps to kind of solidify
Mm-hmm.
the meaning that we attach to our memories.
Okay.
Think of it like your mental dictionary.
Yeah.
Lexical processing is how quickly and easily you can find the right word for something
Yeah.
or understand the meaning of a word you read.
Right.
So if you have a smaller vocabulary
Yeah.
or you struggle to access words,
Yeah.
that could then impact your ability to like fully engage in semantic processing
Yeah.
when you encounter new information, whether it's visual or verbal.
Right, because you don't have those words to attach to it.
Exactly. And Swanson references some research
Okay.
that indicates that LD readers often show weaknesses in their lexical processing abilities.
Okay.
And in a 1987 study, he actually
Yeah.
divided learning disabled readers
Yes.
into two groups.
Okay.
Those with stronger vocabulary skills
Okay.
and those with weaker vocabulary skills.
Okay.
And what he found
Yeah.
was that the LD readers who had better vocabulary skills
Uh-huh.
were able to benefit from being given names
Oh.
for things.
Okay.
And they actually showed memory performance that was similar to skilled readers.
Oh, wow.
However, the LD readers with poorer vocabulary skills
Mhm.
continued to show better memory for things that weren't labeled.
Wow.
So this suggests that their weaker lexical system
Mm-hmm.
was indeed hindering
Yeah.
their ability to use verbal labels
Okay, well.
to improve their visual memory.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Yeah, it really highlights how important vocabulary is,
Yeah.
and how it can kind of act as this crucial link.
Yeah, like a bridge.
Yes, a bridge between the visual
Yeah.
and semantic processing.
Yeah.
And if that bridge is weaker,
Yeah.
then it's going to be harder to integrate
Yeah.
that information.
Makes sense.
And Swanson also touches on,
Yeah.
you know, how the brain is organized
Uh-huh.
and how, like, typically the left side of the brain is more involved in verbal processing and the right side is more involved in visual processing.
Right.
And he suggests that skilled readers seem to be better at using resources from both sides of their brain
Okay.
at that semantic level
Okay.
to understand and remember things.
Yeah.
So it might be that LD readers have a harder time with that.
With that integration of the two hemispheres.
That integration, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so to bring all of this together,
Yeah.
what would you say are some of the most crucial takeaways from this paper?
Well, I think that the core idea is this notion of functionally separate visual and verbal processing systems
Right.
in learning disabled readers.
Uh-huh.
So they're not automatically and efficiently connecting
Yeah.
what they see with the language that describes it.
Right.
And this difficulty in bringing those two together
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
affects their memory for visual details of events.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's also important to remember that their initial ability
Yeah.
to see and process
Right.
visual information
Right.
isn't necessarily the problem.
Yeah, it seems like it's the
Here
result.
indicates that when they're dealing with non-language-based visual information,
Uh-huh.
their initial processing is often
Right.
quite similar to that
Yeah.
of skilled readers.
Yeah.
The real differences emerge
Uh-huh.
when we look at how they handle verbal coding
Yeah.
and how that verbal coding interacts with the visual information they've taken in.
Right. And that really seems to be
And that's where the problem.
the crux of it. And
Yeah.
so while skilled readers experience a boost in memory
Yeah.
when they combine verbal and visual information.
Right.
That additive effect that Swanson talks about, learning disabled readers
Yeah.
often don't get that same benefit. And
Yeah.
in some cases, it might even hinder their memory.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really important to understand.
Yeah.
And then when we look at semantic processing,
Mm-hmm.
the research shows that LD readers have trouble forming those strong connections
Right.
between visual and verbal input
Yeah.
within their network of meaning.
Right.
And this makes it harder for them to organize and retrieve information effectively,
Uh-huh.
particularly at more abstract or general levels.
Right.
And then having a smaller vocabulary,
Yeah.
a less developed lexical system,
Right.
can make those challenges even greater.
By impacting that semantic coding process.
Yeah.
However, I think it is encouraging
Yeah.
that those LD readers with stronger vocabularies
Right.
seem to be better at using both visual and verbal information.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
that's something to focus on.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And then, considering how the brain is organized,
Yeah.
it suggests potential differences in how the left and right hemispheres
Yeah.
process and integrate verbal and visual information.
Yeah.
And skilled readers seem to have an advantage
Okay.
in connecting those different parts of the brain
Yeah.
at that semantic level.
Okay, so I think this deep dive is really giving us a much more detailed understanding
That's
of
it.
of the specific cognitive challenges.
It's not
Okay.
just
Whoa.
LD readers face.
Oh, they have trouble
It's
reading.
not just one thing.
It's like, no, there are these specific mechanisms, and this is really just scratching the surface of all
Right.
the research that's been done.
And that's come out since.
That's come out since then.
But this is really kind of like the origin.
This is kind of the foundation.
Yeah, this is the foundation.
It really sets the stage
Yeah.
for understanding.
And it's fascinating to
Yeah.
kind of go back to this older research.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it leads to a really important question.
Yeah.
I want to leave you with.
Yeah.
So now that we have a better understanding of these core differences in how learning disabled individuals
Yeah.
process and connect visual and verbal information,
Yeah.
what are the implications for how we approach teaching them to read?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how we develop strategies
Yes.
to
Yeah.
support their memory.
Yeah.
How can we help them
Yeah.
build stronger connections
Right.
between what they see and what they can put into words
Right.
to really enhance their learning journey?
Yeah. That's a great question to think about.
Yeah, I think it's a crucial area for further.
Exploration and consideration.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much. This has been so interesting.
Of course.
And I hope all of you out there listening found it just as fascinating as I did.
I hope so.
So thanks for joining us,
Thanks for having me.
and we'll catch you next time.